Welcome to the podcast, Kill Complacency. Here we inspire intentional living by motivating others to handle hard better. And here's your host, Marty Hofmann.
This podcast is with my social media friend, Justin Mosley. We've never met in person, but I love to follow him on all his stuff because he's got a great mindset. But what I want you guys to listen to today is the power of a woman and her influence over Justin to not only quit his corporate job, but to move to England and then become the king of short-term rentals. And I tell you guys this because a woman's influence is great. So women, don't underestimate your influence. And men, realize that they are powerful and have a great influence on you. So find a good one. This is my LinkedIn buddy, Justin Mosley, and he's in Florida. And he is killing it right now in the Airbnb short-term rental space. And so he's a mindset guy, and he's all about just getting after it and making things happen and no excuses. So I thought he'd be a great guest on here. Justin, can you kind of tell us your background? I mean, I know looking at your LinkedIn, you're in the Navy, but what were you before the Navy? Where were you?
What was I before the Navy? That's a great question, my friend. So I actually grew up in Baltimore. I don't know if you've ever been there or not. It's pretty much a crap hole. So that was my motivation for getting the hell out of there, which ultimately led me to the Navy. And yeah, from there, it was kind of traveling around and experiencing different countries and cultures very early on, which was by far the best thing, like for me, and definitely like laying that foundation for kind of discipline and the mindset stuff and focus. And really after that, I kind of took that into the rest of, work life, education, business. And yeah, it's kind of spawned from there.
How long were you in the Navy?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah. So I had grand intentions of getting out. And then I was trying to go officer and go to Buds to go to be a Navy SEAL. It did not work out, which in hindsight was probably the best thing. Right? Like at that point, the life that I have now and thinking about what may have happened in that life. Yeah, I mean, you never know, but it wasn't meant for me. And I was like, all right, well, it's time to go make some money, right?
Yeah. Have you read Jocko's book, Extreme Ownership?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, you embraced that, right?
Yeah, Dichotomy of Leadership, which is another great book. Yeah, those guys are great. I was actually out in San Diego when I never met David Goggins, but I definitely have run into Jocko before, like years and years ago. So I'm an old guy, can't tell. So I've been around for a while.
Yeah. And you've got 4 kids. Oldest is teenager.
And oldest is 15, 11, and 3 savages. So 11, 6, and 2. Bring up the rear.
That's good. I've got 6. 20, 18, 16, 14, I think a 10. He might be 11. And then a 7.
When you have to really think about it, that's when you know you have a lot of kids.
He's 11. He just had a birthday. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. It's funny, man. Oh, you got me beat by 2. I was just speaking at a conference in Colombia, and I was leading the charge. So the next under me was 3, but I was the only 4. So
okay, yeah. Talk to me about short-term rentals. How did you get into short-term rentals? Was that right out of the Navy, or did you stumble on it?
No. It was so after Navy. Actually, listen to everyone else, which is my first mistake of just the everyday people. And so, the only way to be successful is to go to college and grad school. While I don't regret that, when I think about what I learned there, it doesn't really apply much to my life now and stuff, right? But the networking and stuff was good. But I was working in corporate, retail for years. And, I was looking for a better way to build a life, have more time freedom, all the cliche stuff that people say. But when you actually work hard for it and, lay that groundwork and foundation and you just remain consistent, it actually yields that. But I actually got into real estate on the multifamily commercial side. And I saw opportunity in the short-term rental space. And then I could kind of have a one-track mind. So I went all in, and it's been all short-term rentals from there.
Was it all in just like that? Like did you quit your job and go right into it, or?
Yeah. So I actually quit my job. So I'll tell you how I even ended up quitting my job. So I was working for this corporate retailer. They would do like these kind of like monthly meetings, and I always tell the story because I enjoy it. So I was walking in. It was one of the first day I started working there, and this woman walks in. She's absolutely beautiful, and she sits next to me. And I'm thinking to myself, like, there's no way she works here, right? Like it's for like a really dry chain. They do really well, but like I won't mention the name. But she happened to work there, so I actually fell in love immediately. And we started dating. And early on, she was like, don't get it too attached because, I have to go back to England. She's not from this country. And they sent me here to expand the business. And I said, okay. And, we dated for a couple months. And when it was time for her to leave, I was like, all right, well, this is not my forever anyway. So quit my job and went over to England for 2 years with the goal of always coming back. But in that whole time, we ended up getting married, and that's when I ended up going to grad school as a way to get into the country. And when I came back, it was all real estate.
So you quit your job for a girl?
Yeah, 100%, man.
And
sure.
Is that your wife now?
She's my wife now, and we're married. So it's something all good.
It was the best job you ever quit.
It was, man. If I didn't do that, would I have stayed in that job? Probably not, but I would have stayed there probably a lot longer than I would have wanted to. So, I'm a big, like you even introed me into a take action guy. We have one life, and, I think all the best experiences I've had have come from taking the risk and doing things that most people are too scared or fearful to do. And, that was another thing that, yielded a great result. My wife is awesome. She's a rock star business owner, and we have a great thing going. And if I didn't do that, like, I wouldn't be here today.
You wouldn't be half the man because you wouldn't have had the woman.
That's true. So, you can argue that for sure. I'll take that.
Justin, I can be the same way with jumping into things. And you and I probably have some great stories of success. What's something you jumped into just for fun that turned out bad?
Oh yeah, I mean, no, loads of stuff, man. Like, I can count the things, and I guess that's why I'm a perspective guy, because it's like, even if it doesn't work, like, at least you can figure out if you like it or not, or keep pushing and stuff. Yeah. But my first kind of like real jumping into investing is actually when I got out of grad school, kind of the tail end. I studied financial economics over in England, and believe me, I'm not smart at all. Like, but I can work hard, so it's like I'll figure it out. Just let me keep after it. And I was like, I think I read Snowball, and I was like, oh man, I could do this, man. Like, just play the stock market. And I put a couple, 20,000 in there. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to turn this into $1 million in no time. And I lost every bit of that money, man. Punch me right in the face, man. I'm not Warren Buffett. I can't analyze the executive teams. I don't know what the hell is going on in the market. And I was like, you know what? This is great, but this is not for me. So now I have a wealth manager that handles that. But that was definitely one of the first things that I did on the investing side that I was like, wasn't cut out for, and probably never will be. Mm-hmm. But I tried it.
Yeah, you tried it. Yeah, and that's awesome. And that's one of my things. Like, man, I wish more people would just get out there and try hard things. And the hard gets easier as you do them, but you've got to try it first. So
yeah, and my motto is kind of like, I think people take stuff way too personally. Like, you fail something, whether it's business or a relationship, like, that doesn't have to mean anything about you, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's just like, it didn't work, or maybe like you didn't do it the right way, right? Like, I don't take that as a reflection of like who I am or my self-worth. So when I always feel like if you detach those two things, it's really easy to try stuff, and if it doesn't work, kind of just move on, and doesn't really have too much of an effect on who you are.
Yeah. Have you thought about teaching your kids that?
I try to. I don't do a whole lot of preaching. I think kids definitely learn by modeling and stuff, and just doing what I do, whether it's like working out every day, getting up at 4:30 every day. I'm hoping them seeing the results of kind of not only myself, but my wife too, right? Like, like I said, I come from Baltimore. We don't have to get too deep into my background, but like
Yeah.
no dad, mom ended up going to jail when I was a teenager. My brother and I were pretty much sick a little bit like grandparents. And it's like, the juxtaposition of like my life growing up to like where it is now, to where like we're building a house in Jupiter on 2 acres. It's 4 million and a pool and a basketball court. And it's like, I worried a lot about like, man, how am I going to instill kind of these values into my kids? But at the end of the day, one, they can't compare it to anything else, right? Like this is all they know, which is fine, right? This is is the gift of being a provider and a dad, right? Like this is the dream. But them watching us work every day and taking care of ourselves, like I think that's the stuff that's going to rub off. So, so I kind of look at it that way. Someone way of answering the question. So.
Yeah, something a guest told me on this, and we've done it a dozen times probably since then. But you might try it with your kids, and it's just at supper time. I'll ask them, what's something you're proud of today?
Mm-hmm.
What's something you failed at? Because I want to create that culture where failures are good, because that's how you learn, right? And then the last question is, what did you laugh at today? You have to laugh out loud at something.
I like that one.
We just go around the table and we answer that. I was proud when I interviewed Justin today, and we talked about killing complacency and short-term, rentals. I failed at technology when we were late showing up. You know what I mean? But what it creates in our home.
End of the world, and you live, right? And we're still here. So no big deal.
Yeah. So yeah, I really want to emulate that it's okay to be a C student. You don't have to be an A student. Like, be great to be an A student, but you don't have to be.
I feel the exact same way, because it's not for everyone, right? Like academics isn't for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. Like investing isn't for everyone, but there is something out there that is for you. So you have to have the courage to go out and try it, right? And until you try it, like, how do you know? So yeah, I'm really big on that. So that kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah. You're really big on consistency, right? And mindset. Talk to me about, what does a normal day look like for Justin in the area of consistency? Or maybe I should say a week.
Yeah. I mean, the things that I'm pretty militant about is getting up. I get up every day at 4:30, like Monday through Sunday, like weekends and all, so that I can work out. And it's a little bit of like, I do really well off like having that consistent cadence. Mm-hmm. Even when I travel, I try to do that so I can like work out and all that. And that just makes me feel better. And it's also a little bit of punishment. It's like, if I want to have a little bit too much to drink and stuff, it's like, well, you got to get up. And it's like, all right, well, suffer the consequences, right? Like, I'm big on, you know what, I don't mind what you do, but just understand there are consequences and be willing to deal with it. So that's a lesson I definitely teach my kids. But yeah, my day varies quite a bit, right? Like, I have a lot of stuff going on. So like, I have a real estate fund that we're raising for. We're constantly looking at new properties. I travel to some of the markets that we buy in. So I don't really have a whole lot. So it's kind of chaotic consistency, but the working out, the waking up is generally the same. So
yeah. Talk to me about this, the single family, not single family, the short-term rentals. How did you get into that, Justin? Was that
cash flow? As simple as that, man. Cash flow. I think you can make a lot of money in almost anything, right? Like, one thing I really love about the age that we're in now, is that if you put enough effort into it and get creative enough, like, you see that with kids with online businesses. Like, my wife is a perfect example. Like, she built a coaching business for female entrepreneurs, right? Like, went from knocking on people's doors in my neighborhood to get women into like the clubhouse to now she does events in West Palm Beach and does millions of dollars a year helping people, right? And I say all that to say, it's, when I got into real estate, I loved it, but the money from a cash flow perspective just didn't come fast enough. And when I saw short-term rentals as a way of building that wealth, right? One, I could get into it and take properties down myself, because I'm really big on family, and like that's even the reason for the name of my company. I like the idea of like, if you do well, you provide a great service, like you get that high average daily rate and you make that money really quickly, right? So I used to look at it as like, if my rent or the mortgage was $2,500, if I can make it in that first 15 days, right, minus expenses and all that. Like the rest that I fill that property out, like that's all me. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my initial motivation. So that's how I got into it. And then after kind of doing it that way, I was like, this is actually a great business model and I want to scale it. So, and that's led into some other things, but it's still always, Airbnb, STR, hospitality focused.
Where was your first Airbnb? What market?
Yeah, in West Palm Beach, a triplex in West Palm Beach. Would use one unit and it worked. And I spent the next 2 months trying to get the other two tenants up out of there. So, yeah, man. I was like, let me try the kind of multi-family model. I'm like, well, if it blows up, at least I have these two tenants that are like covering the mortgage.
Sure.
And that was kind of how I looked at it.
That's cool. I've got some single family houses here, mostly long term, but I tried the short term and it's just not. It doesn't work in Guthrie, Oklahoma. It's not enough. There's not enough people traveling.
I think that's the one thing, and this is why I actually love the space too. Aside from the fact that it's a bit of the Wild Wild West, but this truly is a space for creativity.
Mm-hmm.
I like to look at real estate in my world as really the underlying asset, and then the business is hospitality, right?
Yeah.
So I've had in my coaching education program and stuff, where my coaching students come in, they might live in somewhere in like rural Ohio or something like that, right? And I think most people's first intuition is, all right, well, I need travelers or business travelers or vacationers. And it's like most of the country isn't filled with that, right? Mm-hmm. But what is that demographic? What is that niche that you could provide your supply, obviously your space to live, for the people that are coming in, whether it's, traveling nurses is the easy one. Stewardess and pilots,
oh, sure.
There's a lot of money to be made, close proximity to airports, and not big airports. I'm not talking JFK, but like in rural areas, right? In Asheville, stuff like that. So it's really about being creative. And if you can figure that out, you effectively can corner the market and build your reputation up and make a crap ton of money in places that most people aren't going to come and find. So we could talk about that later and help you out there.
Yeah, that's really cool. What we ended up doing is just pivoting to midterm, where we were reaching out more to those nurses and whatnot.
And I look at midterm rentals as a variation of short-term rentals.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great model for sure.
Yeah. And it's honestly, it was a good move, unless we'd gotten super nitty gritty into the dirt of it, and gotten way more creative. It was more profitable and it was already furnished and way less work. So.
Yeah, right. And you making money, it's a win, man. How I look at it is like, if you can cash flow it and stuff, and I tell people this all the time, like, oh, the market's going to crash, or oh, rates are too high. I'm like, look, man, if you can buy an asset and it's going to cash flow right now, there's a great chance that rates are going to drop, and that's going to force values up. Even if it doesn't, you can refinance your debt. It'll be cheaper. You're going to be paying on it over time. You have an asset that's growing. It's like, why not? Right? Like, I never understood it, but I guess that's just the fear and mindset piece that people,
Well, and I liked what you said earlier in regards to, and it's really Ray Kroc's vision with it. People think he makes money flipping burgers, but it's really about the real estate that McDonald's held. 100%. And it wasn't always that way. When they started, they were doing a 20-year lease on stuff, and Ray realized that he needed to be buying the land and then have the business in place. And so I thought about asking you about that, the Airbnb arbitrage, if you guys do that at all. Do you guys always buy it?
Yes, I always buy it. I'm a huge advocate of ownership. But what I can say is the retailer I used to work for, and who gives a crap? Like, it was Aldi. So like the corporate chain Aldi and stuff. So before they were actually cool, when they had a really crappy reputation, when they were moving into the country and stuff, but like they paid really well. And I'll tell you what, man, the Germans could run a tight ship, man. Their organizational efficiency is good. So. But they were actually the first company that I recognized before that they do the same thing. Like, they buy a lot of their locations. And that was kind of got my mind churning. But to answer your question about arbitrage, I'm a huge advocate of ownership. When you talk about building wealth, legacy, I believe that if you can buy an asset, that should be the goal. But if you can't, or you don't have the money, I think arbitrage, co-hosting, is a great way to understand and learn the business and until you can actually go buy. So
it'd be a good way to get your feet wet if you're
100%.
20 years
old.
And
it's low risk, right?
Like credit.
You have a lot of factors that come into play, but I think it's a great way to kind of figure it out. And if you can figure it out doing arbitrage, then buying the assets, the easy part, right? Like the operation, that's where you make the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there, spread the message, share. And if you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store in show notes as well. But it's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com, mindsetshop.com. Check it out. Thank you guys so much, and have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Kill Complacency. Follow and share our podcast to change lives and inspire growth.